Hello, dear friends. Good morning and good evening. My name is Shirit Chaim. I'm the Honorary Secretary of the Maccabi World Union and Chair of the Education Department of the Maccabiya 2025. Together with my female members in the movement executive in Israel, we are establishing the Movement's Women Forum. Thank you for joining this unique and important meeting. We, the women from Maccabi World Union in Israel, are excited to meet you and share the difficult moments we have been going through since October 7. The subject of our meeting, as we wrote in our invitation, is the sexual terrorism that occurred and still occurring since Saturday, October 7. At this meeting, we'll be honored with the presence of 3 speakers who lead and deal with this painful and challenging issue. The meeting will last about an hour and a quarter so that we can manage it decently. We would appreciate it if you would make sure to have open cameras in a place that would allow you to devote the appropriate attention to the sensitive topic we will be dealing with. All Zoom participants will be in a mute mode during the meeting. If you have questions for the speakers, please write your question in the Zoom chat. At the end of each speaker's speech, we will ask them 3 questions for the question that will come up. At the end of the session with the speakers, we will present you with an information platform we have built to echo this issue in your communities. I invite former member of Knesset and Deputy Chairman of Maccabi World Union, Orly Foreman, to open this meeting.
Thank you, Shirit. Dear friends, shalom to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us, women from around the world. On October 7, at 6:30 in the morning, Israel faced the worst event in its history. Terrorists from the Hamas organization invaded our homes in the southwest part of Israel, the kibbutzim and cities surrounding Gaza, and murdered, massacred, raped, and abused innocent citizens, babies, children, women and men, young and old, with no mercy. Youngsters who participated in a peace festival nearby found themselves at the party of death, brutally abused and murdered by the monsters of Hamas. On October 7, Hamas kidnapped to Gaza 253 people, mostly civilians from their homes. 136 of them are still there, suffering every day, every moment in Gaza. Maccabi World Union is the largest Jewish Zionist and sport movement in the world, advocating the connection between body and mind since its inception, as the well-known saying goes, a healthy mind in a healthy body. Maccabi is a movement that was founded out of the understanding that minority must act together to confront hate and anti-Semitism. Even today, we see a direct link between the movement's values and goals to the need to act on this issue and unite all forces of our worldwide communities. The women of the movement in Israel, half of them are sitting there here, established the Women's Forum, which seeks to raise awareness among all members of Maccabi World Union and the Israelis who live abroad. Our goal is to echo the terrible crime that happened here, violating the international law on crimes of gender violence in war. This is a crime against humanity, and we know it's happened. Since October 7, more and more testimonies have been collected and heard, describing the horrible sexual terrorism against women, girls, and men. Many of them were murdered by the terrorists, and their voices can no longer be heard. We wish to shout out loud, so the entire world will hear the voice of the murdered and the kidnapped, the cry of the victims of this terrible crime should last until the whole world condemns the war crimes. 136, baby, a child, women, youngsters, soldiers, and elderly people are still there. I'm sure you all heard that we celebrated Kfir Biba's first birthday. Out of his 12 months, he spent 4 months in Gaza. And think about you as a mother who has a 20-year-old daughter closed in a cage in tunnel 20 meters below ground. And these animals are abusing them physically and mentally for more than 110 days. We have to get everyone home alive now. Bring them home now. I pray, we pray for better days. Thank you.
I'm honored to invite the first speaker, Dr. Cochav Elkayam Levy. Dr. Elkayam Levy is a lawyer and researcher of international law, gender, and human rights. Dr. Elkayam Levy established and headed the Civil Commission on October 7 crimes by Hamas against women and children.
Hi everyone, and good morning. First of all, thank you so much for these words. I think this is all gathering together is all part of working to amplify this voice and recognize those heinous crimes. And I want to thank you for organizing this and for keeping the discussion over these issues, and of course about the hostages, that it's our first moral obligation to get them out of there. And so I'll start with that. I'll say I teach international law, human rights, gender theory, and climate justice at Hebrew University and Reichman University. This was my life before the 7th of October. I led a lot of women's rights issues. I drafted Israel's national report on women during emergencies, when we never imagined an emergency like that. And I had an institute on gender and sustainability, the Dvora Institute, really about our dreams of the future. And since the 7th of October, my life has completely changed, like all of us, but I've been given another role as the chair of the Civil Commission on October 7th crimes by Hamas against women and children, a role I've never asked for myself, leading the investigation and the inquiry and the documentation mission on these crimes in light of unprecedented denial, international denial of these issues, despite the fact that Hamas has been documenting these crimes immediately, coming with a mission to really terrorize us for generations to come. And despite all this documentation, we found ourselves after the 7th of October fighting a second battle, a battle for recognition, and I want to deny against denial, and really against dehumanizations that we've experienced as Israeli women. So I want to start just briefly giving you all the events that we've experienced since and where it all began. So I was actually asked, why have we done this? And if the UN would have reacted properly, would the commission have been established? And I don't think it would have been established. What happened was just, I'll say that on the 7th of October, I was with my father at the hospital. He was hospitalized in Sheba hospital, and we, as all of us, we started getting information about what's going on, reports about the very difficult crimes. People were being burnt in their houses, taken hostages, taken as hostages. Reports of children already in the early morning saying that their parents were murdered and that they are hiding in the closet. I won't mention everything, the burnings. I'll just say that as an international law scholar, I knew we are witnessing crimes against humanity before our eyes. I knew that this is going to be internationally tried. And to be honest, I never thought there's going to be an issue within the international community. I thought we are seeing something, of course, not another circle of the conflict, but the magnitude of the events. It was as if hell has opened upon us, as was said previously. And in the first days of the war, I was working with government agencies on the emergency response to what happened. And slowly I understood that the human rights bodies that we've been working with for years and years are not responding. And I want to say something about that. What does it mean to respond? So first of all, initially report, just to report what happened. Secondly, it's their obligation. Secondly, to condemn, express perhaps solidarity with the victims, solidarity with the countries that was affected by this difficult attack. And the third thing UN bodies do is just to offer help, really offer help. This is their job. This is their universal mandate to protect human rights, to offer help in humanitarian crises. And we've been puzzled, international scholars, like what is going on? Why aren't they responding? And so I very naively thought that once I'll gather this group of experts and we'll send them the most credible information we had at the time, perhaps they'll respond. And I think I was very naive. I'll say very briefly that we sent them 3 petitions. One was joined by thousands of women. The second one was joined by many organizations. And the third one was a legal report signed by more than 180 international law professors and about the crimes committed against women and children. And in order to write this report, I have to share that I felt like I need to bear witness myself, to see with my own eyes. I usually say that I knew too much too soon. I knew too much too soon. I already started creating this file, a small database. I went through Telegram groups to see everything. As a legal scholar, I felt like I need to see this. I can't have others do it, and I can't have others sign the report without me seeing this. And I want to say that the UN does not get reports from 180 international law professors and human rights experts. It usually gets reports from small organizations. And what happened was shocking. I sent this report to really every UN agency you would imagine, personally, both formally and informally. And as days went by, we were deeply surprised that we didn't even get a thank you note, not even a small note. That the email was not saying, please find attached the report. The email, I asked them for help. Can you help us? This is what we know. Please help us. Please respond to what we're seeing here. And we got no response. At that moment, I gathered a group and I said at the meeting that week that in light of the silence, it was already in the beginning, in light of the fact that they're not even responding, days went by and I was refreshing my email account, and all of us really, I said, we have a different mission. Our mission is not only to communicate with the international bodies. Our mission is really historical, to document every piece of information regarding what happened to women and children. I was already getting a lot of information, a lot of reports, sometimes in the middle of the night. I was invited to speak in the name of the women's movement in Israel before 5 members of the CEDAW committee. CEDAW committee is the most important international committee on women's rights. It's not like the UN Women. The UN Women is more political in a sense. This is the expert body. And one day before my speech at the UN, the CEDAW committee, the members of the committee, each of them got the report. They released a statement, unfortunately not mentioning the 7th of October, not even mentioning the hostage taking. And the hostage taking is a crime against humanity, an ongoing crime against humanity. I have to tell you, it was devastating. Again, as I said, we were fighting, I understood that we are fighting another battle. These are the women who are supposed to protect us, the professors, the experts who are supposed to stand by our side. And I spoke at the UN a day after, and I told them, it was a Zoom meeting. I told them, is there international law for Israeli women? Are we going to be protected? What you're doing is that you're undermining the international legal system. You're undermining the achievements of the women's movement. You're undermining the achievement of the entire human rights movement. When we established this system, to say this is what I teach. I teach international law and human rights. I believe in this system that was created from the ashes of the Holocaust. It is a system that was created from the ashes of World War II. And I told them that their silence is even worse when it comes to women, because we're seeing the same denial mechanism inflicted on women on an individual level, right? In rape cases, for instance, or sexual abuse victims, we're seeing the same denial mechanisms now being inflicted on us collectively by the same bodies who are supposed to protect us. And I asked them, are we even human? Because in this silence, they are dehumanizing us. I can say that I feel, I know that they have a role in fueling denial campaigns around the world. They have fueled the hatred campaigns, anti-Semitic campaigns. They are not just betraying us, they are betraying humanity, and they're not just keeping silent, because they are becoming active in endangering us, in demonizing us as Israelis and dehumanizing us as women. And since then, my work is centered in really establishing this inquiry commission, establishing this documentation effort, advocating to get the hostages back, advocating for recognition. I'm meeting with leaders around the world. I think the most complicated mission is to establish this archive. Everything that we do is being doubted. How do you know these images are not AI manipulated? These videos are not AI manipulated. And these are live, many of those are live videos documented by Hamas. And I'm glad to say that we are partnering with the best Israeli tech companies helping us now. But anyway, we are going also to collect testimonies and to make sure justice is done. And I want to say, people ask me what is justice? So it's difficult. It's a difficult question in light of the really cruelest crimes that we've seen here in Israel. But justice begins with recognitions, with compensation to the families. If there is even an ability to compensate them on what happened and to compensate the survivors. I think it's our responsibility as humanity to reveal those crimes and the kinds of crimes that Hamas has conducted here that really put all of us at risk. So thank you so much for bringing forward this conversation. I do want to say that I want to acknowledge the work of the women around me that are really exposed, all of us, to the most difficult crimes from the beginning of the war. This has been the most difficult part. We are watching this, we are bearing witness, and we are doing everything we can to be able to give voice to those who remain voiceless. So thank you.
Thank you, Cochav. We have some questions. As we said, we'll give time for 3 questions. The first question is, what do you think is important for us, saying the Jewish communities around the world, to do in our communities?
Can you repeat the question? What do we do? What can we do?
Important for us to do in our communities in order to help in the recognition?
First of all, I feel like I want to say that I have a WhatsApp group. I'll send it to you later, in which I sometimes ask for help. Sometimes it's just a connection. For instance, in a few weeks ago, I said, does someone know anyone from the Spielberg Foundation? And many answered and many helped. Sometimes we need to reach a certain senator. Sometimes it's just a small thing. We're also fundraising because this is really going to take years. None of the statements, even though we've made a huge impact around the world, and we're working with allies outside the UN now more than within the UN, the documentation part is really a historical mission. It's Yad Vashem, so fundraising, I want to say this is one of the things that I'm dedicating my time to, aside from the documentation. And this WhatsApp group is also helping me amplify my voice. Sometimes it's just sharing the information. And I feel like sharing this, making those voices heard, making our advocacy work matter is, for me, it's a lot, because the leaders of the world, whom I would meet with, needs to see this support, needs to get, for instance, last week I've met with the Foreign Minister of Australia. She released a statement right after the meeting, and I sent it to the group and everybody were sharing. I think it's important for them to get this support, and for us it's a legal achievement in our path for recognition, as I said. So thank you for asking this. And when I come to the United States, I'd love to meet.
Okay. The second question is, what can you tell us what evidence is there already?
So as I said, there are videos, there are images, testimonies, images coming from many sources, reports. I've asked very early after the war began, for my staff to create this form that is called, in Hebrew it says Shviv Meida, a piece of information. Sometimes this is all I get. Cochav, have you heard about this and that in that kibbutz? Have you heard about this girl in that place? And I'm not an investigation body in the sense like the police or a prosecution. I feel like I have a historic mission to really preserve these small pieces of information. So these reports, we conduct meetings with the officials. Every meeting sheds lights to the kinds of crimes. Many of what we've seen at the beginning, that we've received information from Hamas videos itself and the images they have released, then from first responders, then we received information from morgue staff, from survivors, and we've been helping the efforts. For instance, the New York Times article, who incredibly revealed many of the crimes. We've been working with the team since the beginning of the war. They have been here from October 8th, working on this. So we've been doing everything that we can to help such efforts, and they have also interviewed so many. And in the future, we're also going to make interviews ourselves that are more collect testimonies, not interviews. Interviews we've been doing, collect testimonies in the most professional way possible.
From your experience, which organization in our communities should be connected? Do you have any advice, from your, from what you did until now? In each community, which organization we should connect?
I'm not sure I know how to answer this. In which community, in each community, which organization to connect?
Do you have any advice for, organization that we should connect in order to work on this recognition?
So I visited the United States and I met many communities and Jewish human rights organizations really devastated from the fact that they have lost their allies, they have lost connection with those coalitions that they have been in touch with. And my advice to them was to realign as Jewish organizations, to connect and create new partnerships among ourselves. I know it sounds like I'm suggesting to close ourselves, but that's not the point. Once we become stronger, I feel like others will join. And I feel like the Jewish community around the world has been dedicated to human rights and to tikkun olam in ways that can't be ignored. And now we need to be stronger together. I don't know if it makes sense, but this is, I strongly believe it.
Thank you very much, Cochav, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And now I'm honored to invite the next speaker, Chief Superintendent Mirit Ben Mayor from the Israel Police. Advocate Mirit Ben Mayor is the head of communication in Israel Police, worked as a criminal prosecutor for the state for 15 years, holds a master's degree in international and public law from Northwestern University, Chicago, and Tel Aviv University.
So I should say good morning to everyone or good evening to everyone all over the globe, with Australia, Italia, Italy, Germany, Panama, Sweden, and Ukraine, and South Africa. So thank you very much for joining us. I started by saying good morning or good evening, but I must say that since the 7th of October, we do not have not a good morning, not a good evening. We are trying to make it good, and we're doing everything that we can do here in Israel in order to go on and try to understand what happened here on the 7th of October. And when we drill down and think about it, it doesn't matter if we're doing it as a part of the police or as a part of this very important organization of Maccabi, or just regular civilians. We usually take another moment and ask ourselves, did this really happen? Is this really our reality? Because such atrocities which took place on the 7th of October to our people are really unbelievable. It's not even a word that we can use. It's something that is not humane, unacknowledgeable in all situations, and especially the brutality that took place towards women and men, as in the form of sexual violence. And sexual violence is a very broad subject, because it includes not only rape, but also cutting off of genitals and cutting off of different parts of the body as a part of, as an act of humiliation, as an act of very, very mean violence. And what we have found out, starting our investigation, which actually took place, started to take place on the 7th of October around the afternoon, was that nothing was unplanned. Everything was very well planned. And when I say that, I'm saying it as an official speaker here on behalf of the Israel police. We see, and I will let you know in a few minutes how we see all of this. We see that all the actions were a part of a very specific plan to which the terrorists trained for many years. They knew exactly what they were going to do, where they were going to do it. I don't think that they understood or that they expected that they would do it to so many people, but they definitely planned to do it to as many people as possible in different spots. And how do we know that? We know that because, as you know already, they came in simultaneously to 20 different spots, to 20 different places, to 20 different kibbutz, small cities, and to the festival area. And they did exactly the same thing in each and every place. They murdered, they cut off body parts, they humiliated men, women, and they sexually abused men and women. Now, the big question is, why? We don't know why. The only answer that could be is hatred. Hatred to any human being who is a part of Israel. By the way, they did not care and they did not ask before they raped and before they murdered or kidnapped. They didn't ask the people where they're from. The fact that they were here in Israel was enough for them to serve the narrative of hatred. And we know that people were murdered from a lot of countries, more than 42 countries. Some of them are your countries. So were the kidnapped, and so were the ones who were raped. Now let's drill down to the sexual violence. How can we get, usually, as I was introduced, I'm an advocate. I was working as a prosecutor, criminal prosecutor for many, many years. So the job of looking at evidence, deciding which evidence are enough for us to indict and where we need to investigate more is a part of my life for many, many years. And regarding sexual violence, usually in regular cases, if someone was sexually attacked, either raped or other matters of sexual violence, in one case, we might have the victim herself or himself coming to the police, giving out evidence or testimony regarding what went through, giving the name of the attacker. Usually, we would take that woman, for example, to the hospital. We will use a rape kit and collect whichever evidence from her body. And this would add up to her testimony and to the investigation of the attacker. And then we would indict. Here, the Hamas did all they could do to leave almost no victims alive. What they did, and we know it from eyewitnesses, we know it from first arrivals, we know it from the visuals that they took. The Hamas themselves, they filmed while they were doing their actions, while they were going into those 20 different places. They were going in with their live view and filmed everything. So we have right now the police over 200,000 visuals that we're watching and collecting evidence from these visuals. But we hardly have any victims, any survivors who would come and tell us, because most of them were murdered. And the ones that we know are still with us are right now still getting their therapy, and we are waiting for them to come and tell us when they will be strong enough mentally, physically, to come and tell us. Up until now, we do have evidence from, maybe some of you saw from some eyewitnesses. One of them, we showed her testimony, or part of her testimony, in the UN. We usually don't do that, by the way. We do not reveal evidence before we indict. We are very, very stiff with that. We do not speak about evidence before we indict. We respect the ongoing investigations, and then only afterwards, after we indict, or maybe after, and even sometimes only at the end of the legal procedure, only then we reveal evidence. But here, as Cochav said before, and as my friend here only said, the world did not say a word. Women organizations were quiet. Those who get so much money and donations from many countries during the years in order to speak up and be there for the women and for the countries who overcome such atrocities, they were quiet. They did not say a word. And this is why in the UN we revealed a glimpse of the testimony of the eyewitness who told the world how she was hiding at the party, at the festival, in a certain spot, and she saw with her own eyes how these monsters of the Hamas raped a woman just a few meters from her, from the eyewitness, raped her, passed her from one to another, cut off her breast, walked around holding her breast, while another one of their friends is raping her, and while and I'm sorry for the description, but you all must hear this and tell your friends and tell other organizations that you're dealing with and tell the press in your countries. While he was still raping her, he shot her in her head and murdered her. And only then he left her body. Can you imagine that? We have a testimony from a survivor. Oh, by the way, that woman, the eyewitness that I told you about, also came back to the same spot in which she was hiding. She came there with the investigators, the police investigators, and she laid back in the same spot, and she showed them exactly where the rape was. She gave them directions. They walked to the place and they found clothes in that spot, exactly. And the whole picture was completed with that. We have a survivor from the Nova Festival. Just seeing, watching how much time I have left.
Okay.
You're fine.
We have a survivor from the Nova Festival, another one, who testified. Girls without any clothes on, without tops, without underwear, people cut in half, butchered. There were girls with a broken pelvis due to repetitive rapes. Their legs were spread wide apart in a split. We have a rescuer that arrived to a house in the kibbutz, in one of the kibbutz, and he testified. Inside the shower, there was a body of a cuffed woman. She was without any underwear. The body was in the corner and her hands were tied. We have a police officer testified. I could not drive because there was a baby cradle full of blood on the road. A baby that was outside his cradle and a naked woman lying next to the baby body. She was naked, badly injured, bullets in her body. We heard our police officers who worked in Shua. You know, Shua was the place, the base where all the bodies were brought to for identification. What they saw there are police officers were bodies, some burnt, some with their genitals cut off, men and women. Some they could not identify because there was nothing to, it was very difficult to identify with the situation of bodies. And so I can imagine, or I can guess that maybe one of you would ask right now, if we have forensic evidence for sexual violence, if we have forensic evidence like autopsies or something like that. No, we don't. But you know why we don't? We don't because we had over 1,000 bodies at the identification center. They came out of the war zone from the 20 different places where they were taken out of there under fire. We were in a war zone while trying to collect the bodies, still under attack with missiles coming up from Gaza up until a few weeks ago. So many bodies, they came, they were brought to Shua. Truck after truck came and handed out the bodies. And eventually, while we got to everybody, it took time, even though our people worked there 24/7 in order to identify. We are all Jews and we know how important it is to do a very correct identification and to bring our dear ones to burial as soon as possible. And that was our mission. And even if our mission would have been to take forensic evidence from the bodies, most of them, it was not possible to do it because of the body situations. But we know, and this will be my last sentence, we are working still now 24/7 in this huge and very important investigation that this is the most important investigation that we've ever dealt with here in Israel since 1948. Because it's on behalf of all of those who were kidnapped and who were murdered and raped, and those who have stayed alive, but their lives are not the same life since the 7th of October, and who do not have houses to go back to, and do not have families to meet anymore. We will do all possible in order to bring all those terrorists to trial, and for that we have our Lahav 433, which is our FBI unit. Most of the investigators of that unit, that huge and very important unit, are now working only in investigating the terrorists, getting getting their testimony, getting testimonies from survivors, etc. And we will do everything in order to bring everyone to court. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirit. Now we have some questions. How do you as a woman deal with the work on this issue?
That's a good question, and thank you for asking that. It's very difficult, I must say, as a woman to watch the visuals, to even try and imagine what happened there, especially in the party, but not only. I know some people who were at the party. I have a son who is 20 years old. I have a daughter, she's 17 years old. Luckily enough, my son doesn't like this type of music that was there, but some of his friends were there. But I can just imagine, for example, if my daughter was a little bit older and she would have gone to this place, I can't even imagine the last what could have happened, and I can't imagine how these young women who only wanted to dance, how they ended their lives in this horrific situation. But, and I've seen difficult things in my life. As I said, I was a prosecutor. I dealt with difficult situations. I find it, there's no other way that the world will know what happened here if I will not tell them. Myself and our friends here, and more friends and more people that I know. And this is why I'm doing all that's possible to speak to as many people as I can, as many influencers as I can, myself and my team. Usually what we do is, we do news, we do, we engage with all of the press in Israel and also overseas. We do a lot of news with the international press. And now what we're doing is we're telling the world with the press, with you can see that we did articles with American press, even with the New York Times. We were involved with the big paper that they wrote. It was very difficult. But we have to do it. Because if we will not talk about it, it can happen again to our daughters or to our grandkids.
Thank you. Another question, what do you think can be done to help regarding to what you say right now, to resonate such difficult information? Also dealing with young girls.
What can be done by our friends? Do not let this issue go go to the backyard, if I explain myself. We have to keep it on the table all the time, especially while we still have 136 people, women, children, men, elders, still there. We have to go on and speak. And even if you go and if you do not go to your Congress, okay, or to your president, but you go to schools and you go to to your friends and talk about it. Keep it in the minds of whoever would like to hear, and also the ones who do not want to hear. For example, for us, for myself and for my friends and my team, and also the Israel, all the officials in Israel that do what we're doing right now, we especially speak with the ones who do not want to hear. For example, when press, I can give, for example, I don't know, I don't want to say names, okay, but press members who usually are against Israel, and they asked us questions. We told them, let's meet and speak. Usually I would not want to speak to them. I can even say no comment or something like that. But now, we met with many of them and did everything in order to get them into the understanding of what happened here. And with most of them, you will be surprised it works, because after all, when you know how to speak to those people and you talk to them eye to eye and go and talk to their hearts, eventually you can gain their trust and make sure that they know what happened. And as you know, we have a visit from one of the UN members. She's coming here. You know why? Because our ambassador to the UN and the members who came and spoke, they didn't let this subject off the table. They made sure that it will be news, that it will be on the table, and she's coming. And we will show her exactly what happened here. We will take her to all the places.
We have another question. Okay. As a prosecutor with a systematic method, and although we have little evidence, can we not still claim a systematic crime against humanity? That's the first, and there is an addition. How is the Israeli police acting to convict the terrorists that took part in these acts of sexual terrorists?
Okay, so, as I said, Laha 433, which is our FBI, they're all in. What they're doing is they took their whole big unit, and they divided it into subunits, and then each unit is investigating according to areas, but one unit investigates the crimes that took place in Be'eri, for example, in 2 or 3 kibbutzim, and then they collect all the evidence regarding these kibbutz, okay? And then the other unit takes other kibbutzim, et cetera, they work as groups. To these investigators who are dealing with forensics, with the terrorists themselves, with eyewitnesses, with the survivors, et cetera, we have prosecutors who are a part of their teams. They are working each team of prosecutors. They work with the team of investigators. And while the collection of evidence is being done, the prosecutors are with them, and they're giving them legal advice during the evidence collection in order to base a good evidential picture for the indictment. So it's very organized, but it's very difficult because we have, as I said, so many sources to check and to collect and to make sure that we have the right visual with the right area and with the right terrorist. And it's difficult to match them all up. And this is why the other question that was asked here is a very important one. Can we indict collectively? And in the Israeli law, it's possible. It's definitely possible. And I know that there is an intention to regard some of the atrocities to all of the people. For example, the planning of this crime and the breaking in and the violence. I know that for up until now, the plan is to indict a general indictment for some of the atrocities. Regarding others, it is still a legal question how it is going to be, how they will be brought to court. As it's a legal matter that is dealt now and led by the general attorney of Israel with the general prosecution, and they will come up and eventually decide how exactly it is going to be. Maybe it will even be necessary to legislate specific legislation for this event, but we still do not have a decision regarding that. But it's ongoing, and it's dealt with by the head of prosecution of Israel.
Thank you, Mirit. And last question. Okay, we have a little bit delay with the third speaker, so I'm taking the advantage to ask you one more and last. Through the terrorist investigation, did any of them admit the sexual terrorism that took place by them or fellow terrorists? I think that was there.
Yes, there was, I cannot speak a lot about their investigations. I can say that, they are, saying that yes, they came with specific instructions, and I will quote, to dirty them. And when they were asked, what do you mean to dirty them? Threat them. This is what we were instructed to do. They are, some of them telling parts, they're talking about actions of themselves or some of the other ones in regarding of sexual violence. And I cannot elaborate more regarding that at the moment, but make sure, I will tell you that you should be sure that we have the best investigators from the Israeli police and the Secret Service and the IDF, because it's a mutual investigation, national investigation, and we will bring them to court. We will bring the justice.
Thank you very much. Okay, until the last speaker will join our meeting, I want to introduce you to the information platform we have set up to support an action you can take in your communities, because we are meeting here. It's really to create, a way to wider recognition and to take actions in the communities, because we know that it's something that we really need to help in order to recognize it in the world. So we have collected for you a variety of sources and examples of action that can be taken. And of course, everyone in their communities will know how is right and appropriate to continue to spread the recognition of this important issue. We can share it with us. So there is a platform, a website that will send you later the link to it, working on mobile and on the website, on the internet, on the computers. On the platform, you can find variety of sources, testimonies, articles from the media, webinars that have been held since October 7. And also at the end of this Zoom meeting, we will upload its recording. And in the next coming days, we will attach a short presentation that will help you to present key points to people in your community. Two tools that we have put on the website for your use are templates of letters to a variety of influential parties in your local communities, and material for your use on social media, including post and profile pictures. As you see here, there are some like 4 or 5 posted that you can use them immediately after our Zoom meeting. And I can tell you that at the beginning of the week, we will start a funding campaign, but the organic share have a lot of power. So we would be very happy if you start sharing posts as part of taking an action. So as you see here, you can use our samples of posts that are part of the Maccabi World Union, Women Speak Up, and we used testimonies, as some of them Mirit mentioned before. This is you have like 6-5 also option for a profile. We can say that also changing the profile picture already creates some action. People are entering, asking, and it's an already kind of an action. It is very important to say that for us, the Zoom is only the opening shot, and we would be happy that beyond using the website, which of course you can spread it, we encourage you to be in touch with be in touch with us regarding any initiative you would like to do in your community. If you need connection with speakers from Israel or any other assistant that can help resonate the issue and influence the immediate return of the hostages and the recognition that sexual terrorism happened on October 7, we are here and we really want to hear from you and to help you doing that. And here you have, and we'll put it also on the chat, you have the link to the website, and we're still working on the website and uploading information. And you have the email that you can directly contact us, and we'll be more than happy to be your partner in any initiative that you'll do in your communities. We'll see if Moran is joined us. Still not? Okay, so we'll open for a few minutes until she will join us if there is any question. So we'll open the, Adi, can you unmute? Unmute?
Unmute.
Yeah. Okay, if you want to talk, you can unmute yourself. Here you have in the chat the links. I hope that it's only a delay and she's a delay. The third, I can tell you that the third speaker that I hope that we'll be able to have the time with her is Moran Stella Yanai, that she was kidnapped by Hamas terrorists from the Nova Music Festival near Kibbutz Re'im on October 7, and she was released as part of the hostages release deal, and she had to do a testimony. Hope that you can make it. Okay, so she's joining us right now. So, as I said, Moran, which is our next speaker, was kidnapped by Hamas terrorists from the Nova Music Festival near Kibbutz Re'im on October 7, and she was one of the women that was released as part of the hostages release deal. She's with us, Moran? Not yet? Okay.
She said. She's now gonna connect her computer, so it will take just 2 minutes.
Thank you. Mirit is still with us, so if there is any question, you can ask her directly. Or if you want to say something regarding the topic. We're sorry for the delay and please bear with us. She's in a few minutes, moment she's joining us.
Please don't, it's Lisa here from Maccabi in Australia from Maccabi World Union. Please don't apologise for the delay, but is Nurit still in the room, is she?
Yes, Lisa Mirit is with
Hi,
us,
Lisa.
and we gave the opportunity to speak to her directly.
Well, firstly, I mean, thank you to you and obviously to the previous speakers and to everyone for facilitating this. Hearing it firsthand from people who have witnessed it is very powerful, and I mean, the whole situation is just so devastating, but it's difficult for us to comprehend. I guess in Australia, we have people who outwardly deny that any of these atrocities happen. So I'm just wondering if, without sounding flippant, if there's a message that you can help us to share with people who we come in contact with who won't necessarily join a forum, to hear directly from you about how we can, you know, get a message, a clear message to them from you and others like you about the work that's happening and what you actually saw. So, you know, imagine if you've got the Foreign Minister Wong was in Israel last week, and the previous speaker got to meet with her, but if you had that opportunity, what would you want to share? Perhaps we can get some learnings from you. Thank you.
So, hi, thank you for joining. I must tell you that we tried to get to the whole world in order to let people know all over, and also to Australia. We were there on TV and in the newspaper. And unfortunately, you're saying that it's not enough. So what I can suggest is that maybe, first of all, as I said before, I understand that you weren't here. You should do everything, you yourself and your surroundings, to just to receive as much information from here, from Israel, and then to just go and talk it all over as much as possible. Maybe even get to the press and try to organize some articles regarding that. You can also, we can assist you in that if you want, and have some people to, you know, for interviews from here, our police officers who were fighting, or some survivors who are willing to speak. So just don't stop spreading the information, because it's our job, all of us, to go on and speak it and not stop doing it.
Lisa, I can tell you that part of, you know, organizing this those Zooms, we are in connection in Maccabi World Union. We create connections and relation with all the organizations that are dealing with this issue here in Israel, in order to be able also to help you and to assist you with those connections that you need if you want to bring speakers or get information in order to spread it out in each one of the communities. So we were more than happy to assist and help with any kind of information that you want, even if it's written or filmed, or speaker, that we can help and bring it to your community.
Thank you. We'll be in touch through Ilana. Thank you very much. I can see the next speakers here, but thank you.
Thank you. So Moran is with us, hi Moran. You're on mute.
Hi.
Shalom. I already introduced you twice. Thank you for being with us. So
The floor is
the
yours.
floor is yours.
So I just entered the meeting now to say a few words that happened to me and my story of staying in Gaza. And I will read it for you. On the morning of October 7th, I was at the Nova Festival, a place that gave us the opportunity to celebrate life. I had a jewelry stand there, and I came there to make my dream come true. On that morning at 6:29, my dream turned into a nightmare. Hamas terrorists violated the most peaceful and joyful place and turned it into a bloodshed. It was completely chaos everywhere. Everywhere you can see people screaming and running desperately to save their lives. I tried to escape and saved my life, but I was caught. I was caught 3 times. I managed to escape twice, but in the 3rd time, I broke my leg and they caught me. They put me in a car and took me into Gaza. They beat me up on the way to Gaza. On the way to Gaza, I was beaten and thought my life is ending, and I prayed that I will die fast and without suffering. I was terrifying. I was taken to a very small room, me and an 18-year-old girl, alone with 4 Hamas terrorists. Now imagine 4 men with 2 girls watching you every day, every night, every minute. You can go to sleep without them looking at you. You can breathe without them looking at you. It's constantly thinking that you're going to be raped. And we were not allowed to speak to each other. That's why I'm telling you that being held captive in Gaza is an insane experience of continuous panic attacks, a nightmare. Every day leaves a scar on the soul. There was few days, some that I will never forget. The one day we played cards and even laughed, but in a fracture of a moment, everything turned upside down. One of the terrorists got mad at me and pointed his gun to my head. He didn't fire, but I thought I'm gonna lose my life that night. Every day was unexpected. Just a second. The next day, the hunger and the despair were so great. It was unbearable, and I wanted to cry, but it was forbidden to cry. I couldn't hold it back, so I banged my head against the wall. When the terrorist came into the room, he saw me doing it. He beat me up, and he took my food away. And every day was like that. Every day was unexpected, like I said before. There was a day that I was very, very sick. And I have to say that in that moment, they even used the situation to do whatever they want. I had high fever and I kept vomiting at all time with no medicine, without water. I was hallucinating at one point, but they didn't care and they didn't treat me. And I lost hope. And the day the noise from the bombing stopped and the ceasefire began, they moved us, and I hoped I was going to be released. But then I felt a slight pull on my shirt and heard the Hamas terrorists saying, "Not you, Stella, not now." For them, it was a cruel game, a psychological game, that they like to play, another way to break your mind. Then they took me into a terrifying and abandoned house. I'm sorry, just a second. I'm sorry. They took me into a terrifying and abandoned house, dark house. I was there by myself with more than 10 terrorists. They told me you will never leave Gaza and you will stay here forever. Where is your army? Nobody's looking for you. Every such day leaves a scar. And there were many days like this that makes many, many scars. On October 7th, I was abducted from the Nova Festival. In that moment, I lost everything: control over my life, my freedom, my identity, my very self, even my private name. We cannot accept the possibility of being kidnapped from a music festival and being held captive. We cannot let it end like this. If not everyone returns, everyone in the world should be feared going into festivals because no one is safe. I met some of the people who are still there, and I promised them. I promised that I will do everything in my power to bring them back. I promised. But instead, I got horrific news last week that one of my friends that was with me there was murdered. And it took my breath away. It broke my heart. They don't have time. And what happens in the world has a huge impact on the daily lives of the captive. The terrorists, they watch TV. When they are angry, it's taken on the captives. When they are released, there is a moment to breathe. What happened in the world has a tremendous impact, and therefore, the world, us, and you have a responsibility, and we have a responsibility. And I believe that everything we need to do now, and everyone needs to do it now, is to press as hard as we can on any person that has 2 years, to press as hard as we can to make sure that everybody will tell our story everywhere they can and help in every way that it's possible to help us, because they literally, the sentence, they don't have time. That's beyond. We are beyond the red line. We are beyond everything. So many things that happened to them they could have been alive now if this ceasefire and stopping the Hamas could have happened. The Itai could have been home now, and Itai is dead. And I am so scared and I'm so fear of my friends in there, that I just want that my miracle that happened to me will happen to them too. And that's the only possibility that I have in my mind, because they have to come back home safely and quickly, as fast as possible. Every day that goes by there, the girls that are being raped, are being abused, the injuries are getting so much worse. Even the guys, they're not safe. Nobody is safe there. In every moment, I cannot even explain the amounts of bombing. I came back to the country with an injury in my leg, and I lost half of my hearing. And the psychology abuse that they are using on you on daily basis, from morning till night, is so strong that not everybody has the tools to deal with that situation. Therefore, I think that it's beyond, we don't have time. It's beyond that going to tweet it. It's now to go and scream it out, to shout it out, to spread it all over you can. Either people would think it's too much or not too much. There is not too much. And everything is, I just believe that everybody can do something. there is no possibility that everybody can do something. That was my story. And I wish that my story will stay my story and that they don't have that story to tell, that they will come back and say, it was okay. And we are home now and we're safe. And that's what needs to be happening now. There are babies in there. Now we know that she's dead, but when I was released, she was still alive. Josie, 73-year-old woman, as far as we know, and now she's not alive anymore. And I'm afraid on the girls, 17 women that are still there, the men that are still there. And I ask you to go and spread it out and make sure that everybody is listening to you. And that's me. That's my story. And if you have questions, I'm here to answer.
If there is any question, Moran, first of all, thank you very much. We really appreciate it because we know and we see how much it's difficult. You are in a mission, but we see how much it's difficult to tell the story probably once and once again. I can tell you that part of Moran testimony is also on the website with the English subtitles. So really, thank you very much. We're sending our hugs and strength and really appreciate that you made these efforts for us. If there is any question, we will open the mute. No, they're sending you, Moran, you are so brave. And thank you for sharing. You have a lot of thank yous in the chat.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you so much for that.
There was one question.
There was question?
Yeah.
There are questions I'm here to answer. While you're asking the questions, maybe I don't know if you know the conditions of the people that are there. The conditions are so difficult and so hard. I'm a skinny person and I lost in 2 months 8 kilos. I came back to the country half a person. Thinking about the girls that are still there, losing weight, and the hygiene is so horrible. This is a situation that you literally can die from any disease that you will get. And it's really, really easy to get infected in that situation. So it's not only the safety of the captives, it's the medical situation, which is really, really horrible right now. Because I know that we heard testimonies about the injuries of some of the people in there that are getting really worse. And just to think about them sitting there, need to be dealing with bullet injuries, with body parts that they don't have anymore, and that we know that they don't have those body parts anymore. That it's not even, I cannot even imagine that situation.
With another question.
Did I get a sense of day and night? Sorry, about life. They don't care about, they say they care about their lives, but I came to one of them and I told him, there is not possibility that you will wake up happy if you are waking up with a war inside your heart. There is no situation that a person that gets up in the morning with so much hatred for any other person. It's not only Jewish people, they even say it, who is Christian or Jewish or Buddhist or whatever, they all should go to the fire. There is only place to a Muslim people in here. That's the thing that they keep saying it all over and all over again. Two of the two of the terrorists that guard me at the beginning, they said that they used to point on their heart and say, we don't have emotions, we're emotions free. That's the situation that they like to live like this, because this is a default situation in their head, life in Gaza. And like I said to him, and like I said before, there is not possibility to peace, and there is not possibility to be happier or to get better reaction if you wake up with such hatred in your heart. That's what I got from them. And I'm a people lover. I'm Buddhist. I'm loving God. I'm loving people. For me, everybody is one, and one is everybody. And that's their mantra.
Moran, there is one more question I saw. Can you see it? And that's the last one that we'll take.
What do you think they care about? It's really hard to answer that, because I'm sure as a human being, they care about their children, or I want to believe that they care about their families and friends' lives. Obviously, they put them in danger, because in the house that I was at, there was a rocket, fire rocket on the rooftop. There were babies in the house. They didn't care. It's their babies. Eventually, they told me that that baby died in the bombing. And when I looked at him and I cried because I knew the baby, he told me, that's okay. That's what happens in here. And I told him that's completely not okay. That's completely not fine. That you put in danger your own baby. But that's what I don't think that they hate their children or they hate their families. I do believe they love their people. I believe that they are so brainwashed. They don't see it. They don't see the situation right. I don't think that only politician can affect the situation. I do think that if you have connection to people that have connection, that somebody will reach to a person that knows somebody that will come to speak in their ears, because we're looking now and searching for an influence from outside that will press them from the inside to stop that war. Because if they had a mission on October 7th to come and conquer something, that mission is lost. If they had a mission to release the 10,000 people that they have, that's already lost. They don't have the power to stop it, because they were not organized to that situation. People need to understand that. Not medical wise, not security wise. They don't even know where the people are. I asked them several times, where are the babies? They don't know where are the babies. We asked them if there are still women, why are the men are released instead of the women? And they say, they don't say it, but they do say it under the nose that they don't know where are they. They don't have the option to reach to them and to take them out. And I know, and that's my biggest fear, that in the Arab culture, if you abuse a woman and they're not married, they're both dead. I know that. And that's how I kept on myself. And every time and each time that I moved to a new place, the first question they ask you is, how was your staying in the last house? And I keep saying that everything was okay. I never exposed nothing that they did to me, because I knew how it works in the Arabic culture. And that's why I'm even more afraid on the girls now, because it's known that they are being abused. They have to be taken out now. It's not even the now. They don't have the time, because if somebody will find out they were abused, they will probably be killed. Sorry.
Difficult to speak after you.
Yeah.
Marie, thank you very much.
That's the hard.
Difficult to breathe. So Moran, again, thank you very much.
Thank you so
For
much.
willing to share and to, to go over and over again those horrible things. Again, we're sending our hugs and strength.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And please go and spread the word as much as you can. Everybody can do something. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we heard that the work is to spread and create more and more recognition. And I think that it brings us to the reason why we started speaking and dealing with this issue here in the Maccabi, in the Women's Forum, is because we understood that that's the mission. The global public option is very important here, and we have to do everything that we can. And here we are here to assist and to work with you in order to find the best way to spread it out and to shout it. And Orly started with the praying for better days, so I will end with the pray for better days and with the hope that our hostages and soldiers will return home healthy in body and mind. And I want to thank you for being with us in this meeting. Am Israel Chai. We have to finish. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.